Well. Guess who's back? That's right, it's the SPL podcast back to keep you company all season long. And in case you didn't know already, I'm Farah and he's my one and only partner in crime, Ziao Rausha.
Thank you so much for that, Farah. Very excited for the new season. Even more so, the fact that the final whistle is going to keep our fans company all season long. Now, if you are not already subscribed to the Telegram channel, I urge you to go check it out and join the conversation and keep the conversation going. Farah and I will be keeping a keen eye out on all your rants, feedbacks, things that you may have to say, and I'm sure VAR will give you plenty to talk about in the weeks and months ahead.
Indeed. Now, before we introduce our pundits, one of whom is making their The Final Whistle debut, let's first set the scene for the 2023 Singapore Premier League season.
It's back, and it certainly promises to be bigger and better. Despite a flurry of activity in the transfer window, it's the debut of VAR in the 2023 Singapore Premier League season that's most highly anticipated. And after making quite the mark in the Community Shield, VAR will certainly add a layer of accountability and intrigue to proceedings when the season gets underway. Now, technology is not the only thing we're welcoming in 2023. Brunei DPMM are back amongst the big boys, taking the total tally of clubs competing to 9 across a triple round-robin format. And with DPMM's Hassan Al Bolkiah National Stadium undergoing restoration works, the two-time champions will host their first 3 home games at the Jalan Besar Stadium, alongside Hougang United and the Young Lions. The much-talked-about Topayo Stadium won't be on the menu for 2023, with Balestier Khalsa and the Lion City Sailors set to build a fortress over at Bishan Stadium. And that's not all. We've got new managers, new players, new jerseys, and even some new regulations for the Young Lions, who will be counting on the Kobayashis, with Khan and June all set to bolster the ranks of the perennial cellar dwellers. So the stage is set for a season unlike any other. Rest assured, 2023 will certainly be a blockbuster from the first to the final whistle.
Wow, that's one way to whet the appetite for the show ahead. A quick thank you to the ever beautiful, ever lovely Colette Wong for sprinkling some stardust with your voice for that video. And speaking of stardust, it is time for us to introduce the 2 former professional footballers turned pundits. Raushan, take it away.
Yeah, give me the big job of introducing the pundits. One of them is our favorite, a friend of the show after last season and a friend before that as well, former pro player and manager Khidhir Khamis. Alongside him is the man making his The Final Whistle debut, now a lawyer, Sudhershen Hariram, used to play for Tanjong Pagar in 2011 and 2012. He was also a committee member with Geylang International. Now, both of them are Victoria School alumni, friends, I shall say. So, gentlemen, you must be really pleased to be reunited on the podcast. Khidhir, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Very excited for the new season, new talking points, and also maybe new complaints or new runs.
And Sudhershen, we're very excited to have you on the Final Whistle. How excited are you ahead of your debut?
Nervous. Thanks for having me. It's my first time.
No, don't be nervous. There's no room for being nervous on this show.
By the end of it, you'll be feeling just fine, I believe. All right, enough with the formalities. Plenty to get through and only one place to start. And that is the 3 magical alphabets I mentioned at the top, VAR. Now, accountability is not something we often associate with the FA, but in 2023, we expect some semblance of it with the introduction of a VAR. As far as debuts go, it was a good one in the Community Shield for the video assistant referee. Khidhir, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a very progressive move by the SPL and FAS to have VAR on show, and it's very clear that all of us are new to it. It still needs to something to get used to, and at the same time, for referees, it's definitely a big help to them. A big help, a lot of calls. You can roll it back and then watch it again. All in all, I think it should be a good move, and then at the same time, we need to me also as well, we need to invest in better hardware. Last game we didn't really see a lot of calls being made and properly being seen and caught on camera. And just all in all, is good.
By proper hardware, you're not just talking about Catapult, right? Sudarshan, what are your thoughts on VAR?
I think it's a good move as well. I think refereeing standards and accountability has been a big issue for many years now. And I think VAR will force people to get better as well. It's good that they are now. I mean, the decisions that were made in the game the other day, there were two of them that were clearly and obviously wrong, right? And thankfully, they've now been rectified. In the past, it had just ended up, with people ranting and making a lot of noise, but no repercussions for it. So now that's that, but it remains to be seen. I mean, even in England, there are teething issues. When do they intervene? How do they intervene? Whether we have enough camera angles here, but I mean, it's a good step forward, I think.
Roshan, before we move on though, I want to ask you what you quickly think, because I know you have things to say about this one.
I mean, Roshan always has things to say, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly. I'm giving you a chance to say it.
look, I'll be very honest. I thought at first this whole VAR thing was a vanity project for the FA. I really thought the money could be channeled elsewhere. But having seen it firsthand on Sunday, I stand corrected. I think our referees need as much help as they can get. And I like the point that with VAR, our referees then become more viable to host at international tournaments, which then adds to the ecosystem of our credibility. So I think it's a step in the right direction. Although I'm looking forward to the teething issues because that always gives us plenty to talk about.
For sure, but we have all season long to talk about VAR. So let's swiftly move on and address the elephant in the room. Have we really missed DPMM at all? And I guess a fair question to ask is, what do they add to the league? I mean, they're not total strangers here, but what will they add this time? Khidhir, I'll come to you first.
Obviously, more teams to play. I mean, they're different teams to play. You don't play 3 rounds or 4 rounds of the same team over and over again. And I think DPMM brings a little bit of fun to it, because for local teams, you get to travel to Brunei to play. It's something that you don't experience in Singapore. You still stay at home the night before. You still go to the same stadium over and over again. You don't get into the hotel the night before as well. And at the same time with DPMM, my previous experience with DPMM, the style of play is different. They are built differently. They have more mass. They are stronger physically. And with the coach that they have this season, which is the same coach back in 2019, they are very direct, and I'm pretty sure they're going to play the same way as well. So for me, I'm all for DPMM coming back. I love more teams, more variety, and at the same time, more color to the league.
Sudhershen, what do you think? Do you agree with what Khidhir has just said?
Yeah, I mean, I think they are competitive and they're different, right? And it's almost as if they're playing for Brunei when they come here, and there's that extra edge that our players are probably not used to. And they will always give it all. It's never an easy game against them. Plus, you get the added advantage of players being able to travel and play overseas, and with fans who are against you. And I think that will help. But if you ask me whether it was absolutely necessary for them to come back, maybe not. But unless we could find another team, then I guess this is the best bet for now.
Yeah, I want to
Roshan,
just add
yeah,
on to Sudarshan's point about whether DPMM were really the answer for additional teams. Because Khidhir touched on it as well. We all want more teams in the league, right? But Sudhershen, you talk about DPMM being almost not the ideal choice to add to the number of the leagues. Is this just for now? Are we expecting more teams to join the league in the years to come? Because privatization and stuff like that has been mentioned.
I hope so. I hope with the plans that they have, and they're trying to grow the base of players, that more players get the opportunity to play, right? And no local players are going to be playing in DPMM, right? So you're not going to get a chance there. But hopefully, this is, even if it's not short term, then they add more local teams eventually.
I do want to quickly ask though, I mean, like Khidhir said, an extra team is always more than welcome. But with all the positives that Khidhir pointed out earlier, right, do we actually expect them to hit the ground running and challenge for that title from the get-go, Khidhir?
I would think so. I think the quality of the players, it's basically a Brunei national team. As much as internationally, they are not table toppers or world beaters and all that. But with local club teams, they are comparable. And at the same time, what I wanted to mention just now, add on earlier, was my experience with Brunei in 2019 was they didn't adhere to the exact same rules that other teams were on, like under 23. At that point of time, we had to fill in 3 under 23 players. For this season, it's 1 under 23 players. So of course we want them to come back and all that, but at the same time we have to make sure that they somehow follow a little bit of our rules to fill in 1 under 23 players to make it somewhat even, I would say. Yeah.
Roshan, Sudhershen, I'll let you guys go very, very quickly. Your thoughts on what Khidhir just said, and do you think they will challenge for the title this season? Roshan.
I expect them to. I think they come with the pedigree of having won the title once, and they come with the manager who led the team to the title, I beg your pardon. So I expect them to hit the ground running. But having said that, they have been in exile, so to speak, for many years. They've been playing in the Bruneian domestic league, which is not exactly the most competitive league. So perhaps there might be some cobwebs there. But all in all, if they do add to the title race, I think it's only good news for those watching the SPL.
Sudhershen, very quickly.
The same. I think they have the experience, they have the same coach, and they still have some of the foreigners from before. And I think they will challenge not for the title, at least for the top few spots.
All right, now that we've gotten what's new out of the way, it is time for us to zoom in on the remaining teams. And we're going to start with the bottom up with the Young Lions. Changes aplenty in that camp. Nazri Nasir makes way for the return of Philip Au at the helm, while they've bolstered their ranks with Khan and Jun Kobayashi from Albirex. Now, we know there was a lengthy list of candidates, and that included Aidil Shahrin, Noor Ali, and Gavin Lee to take over the reins at the Young Lions. But at the end of the day, the FAS has instead gone back to people who at this point seems to have plenty on his plate. Now that we've seen what people is capable of when working with kids, Khidhir, can he replicate this magic to rejuvenate the Young Lions?
It's a very different Young Lions squad. As much as the two Japanese guys are in, it's still a very, very young team, very inexperienced. Quality of the team is, I would say, to be harsh, is low, judging by the preseason results, as much as you don't really look into preseason results, but it's still an indication of how the quality of the team is. It's still going to be a tough season, and I would say that the coach is the best person for me to manage a team of that age and that particular player profile. And I hope we have a more competitive matches between the Young Lions rather than last season, where every match is you're going to get 3 points out of them. It's still going to be a tough season for Young Lions.
Yeah, and like you said, right, it is going to be a completely different team, especially now they will have that injection of foreigners, right? Roshan, Sudhershen, what will that add to the playing squad and the dressing room for the Young Lions? Roshan, you want to go first?
It's okay. Sudhershen is primed to answer.
I think having better players and players with experience of winning the title will definitely help to help groom the younger players and teach them the good stuff, right? But even to touch on what Khidhir said earlier, I think Philip was probably the best guy for this project at Young Lions. When he last did it, there was a distinct style of play. He brought the best out of them. Maybe not the results, but at least there's a style of play, and that's going to help, given that they've changed all the players again. And hopefully with that, he can bring them up. But it's going to be a tough season. I don't think they're going to have it easy, but I think they will cause some teams some problems along the way. But they probably have the right guy in charge at this point.
Yeah, I think I wholeheartedly agree with what Sudhershen is saying, but I want to throw caution to the wind by saying I don't think just because the two Japanese boys have come in suddenly overnight, the Young Lions are going to fly up the table. For the record, I just want to clarify, because I myself just found this out, that Khan and Jun Kobayashi are not brothers. For the longest time, I thought they were brothers, but evidently they are not. But the point I was making is I don't think the sudden injection of these two foreigners, there could be a third one in the offing, I don't think that's suddenly going to prop them up in the table, but the coaching will be good. We know what people is capable of, and hopefully that alludes to a more competitive showing, because I think in his last tenure, they were much more competitive than last year under Nazri Nasir, except for in the cup, maybe they had some eye-catching results. But you just want the developmental side to be developing in the right direction, and I think Philip Au will assure that happens.
Here's to hoping a better and more improved Young Lions side, right? Because last season, every time we come back on the show, the question we keep asking is there a point to the Young Lions? So here's hoping they answer that question in a positive manner. Now, moving on to the side who finished second from bottom last season, Balestier Khalsa. Peter de Roo did have a bit of a new manager bounce after taking over mid-2020, and he now has a full preseason under his belt. But what do we expect from Balestier in 2023, Sudhershen?
For me personally, I think they're probably going to finish thereabouts again. They have a squad of some more experienced players, but a lot of younger players. And like you said, right, I think the results they got towards the end was probably because there was a new manager in. Remains to be seen, but I don't think they're going to be challenging the big sides as much as maybe they would like to.
Khidhir, what do you think about this? I mean, when it comes to Balestier, no one really, especially last season, we weren't expecting them to challenge for the title, but we did expect them to be better than what they offered us last season. What are you expecting from them this season?
I think this season they would be more stable. Right? I think they have identified certain positions, certain key positions that they wanted to bolster and improve. And I think with Alan Kozar, I think they have gotten a player there. Hopefully they used his ability to eat his best. But at the same time, there are also little positions where it still needs a little bit of improvement. But then again, if you want to compare this season and last season, I would think that they are going to be a little bit more solid. It won't be like a massive 4-0, 5-0 losses all the time. If they lose and when they lose, it's going to be very minimal. But then again, I agree with what Sudhershen said. They're going to be there second from bottom or third from bottom, more or less. I don't see them breaking into the top four.
All right. The next thing I want to say is, even though Roshan put in the script as optional, I think this is one that is interesting to note, is that there is going to be a significant change for Balestier in 2023. And that is the fact that their home stadium is no longer the infamous Tua Payoh Stadium. And now they will be hosting teams at the Bishan Stadium. Again, we always speak about the playing surface at the Tua Payoh and how we say that that is certainly a home advantage to them and how teams will struggle when they go there. So without that fortress now, Roshan, will Balestier struggle at their new home?
I think not playing at the Toa Payoh Stadium is certainly going to be a disadvantage to Balestier, purely because they do, as much as we talk about the Toa Payoh playing surface and it causing various injuries or threat to injuries to various different players, I expect Balestier were used to playing there. They knew how to maximize it. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if that will continue to be an advantage because they are moving to Bishan, right? But all things said and considered, I think Peter Diru having a full preseason with this team will do well for the team. And I don't know if I agree that they will not cause as many upsets. I actually think they are here to play. And last season, we talked about Ban Awas abandoning the project halfway through. I think Peter Diru has brought some stability to the Balestier ranks, and I'm quite excited to see what he can achieve in the year ahead.
All right, same. I'm sure we're all expecting big things from Balestier Khalsa as well this coming season. But let's move on to Tanjung Pagar United, who really caught us all by surprise in 2022, didn't they? Especially in the early rounds with some eye-catching results. Unfortunately for the Jaguars, that bubble eventually burst and they ended the season in 6th. For 2023, they will be without the firepower of Ryo Nishiguchi and the industrious Shodai Nishikawa. But Izwan and Hakim of the Jaguar Force are pretty optimistic that Tanjung Pagar won't be pushovers.
The biggest impact would honestly come to Blake, because with his former club coming back and then facing his former club as well, so he has a lot to prove. But he has leadership material. He has, he's outspoken and he brings the squad together like a family. So if it wasn't for him, I feel that there is no link up between the defense and attack. So Blake is definitely one to watch, in my opinion.
And a lot of pressure will be on Marine to replicate what Rio has done. But I have faith in the entire squad. Especially with the partnership with Mirko, which should do very well, especially in the attacking front. And also the new local signings like Jelly, Faiza Roslan, Lakidin. And it serves to me like, okay, we definitely have competition inside in the squad to do better. And this should bode well for the rest of the squad to do well for this season.
Even for Tajali, even for Shake, yes, they have a temper, but you can use that temper, you can use that aggression and become excellent defenders. See, I'll give an example from foreign leagues. You got Roy Keane, you got Eric Cantona. They are amazing they're amazing players and they have a temper. But they are legends, right? See? So I feel that just need to channel that aggression into the game.
Now I just want the team to do better than last season. Aim for the top four. Yeah. Whether we get ASC is dependent, but definitely it'll be the competition will still be there, and let's take it game by game.
So clearly, the Jaguars fans are feeling optimistic for what lies ahead. Sudhershen, I'll come to you first. Do you share their optimism?
I mean, I'm probably a bit biased because that's the only chance I got to play. So I hope they do well. But I think there have been changes in the coaching staff, in the backroom staff, and even the players, right? I think Rio will be a big loss for them. So I think they will take a while to get going, even based on their preseason results and stuff like that. And they still have quite a young team. So I don't know if they will do as well as we hope. But I think they will do okay. I don't think they will do very badly, but I think they'll do okay.
Khidhir, what do you think?
I think they've recruited quite well defensively. But of course, you take away the goals that Rio have provided for them the last few seasons. It's going to be a big task for the new foreigners to come in and then just straight away get into the groove of things and score the same number of goals. But I think maybe the technical staff has realized that we need to stop the goals from being conceded. With Faizal Roslan in, with Tajali in, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of quality in there now, comparing last season. But then again, the question is, can they score? Right? You can not concede, but at the same time, if you can't score, every game is just going to be a draw then. So it's going to be tough for them as well. But then I still think that they have enough quality in them to be almost the same as last season. Spring surprises here and there, but at the same time, lose some steam over the course of the season, lose some games as well. But I think I kind of quite surprised at how well they have done in the transfer market.
Roshan, do you share Khidhir's sentiments there?
Yeah, I think I concur with Khidhir. I think they've done well to bolster their ranks defensively. A few eye-catching signings there. And last season, perhaps defensively, they were a liability towards the end of the season. So they've clearly addressed the issue. I do have question marks over the firepower. It's going to be a problem replacing Rio because there were times when last season I feel like the other foreigners didn't do as much. I'm referring to the likes of Sujic, Blake Rishuto, for all the running he does, all the hearts he wears on his sleeves. He wasn't offering as much, but Rio Nishiguchi took it upon himself to score those goals. So that's going to be a big miss. So I don't think they'll hit the highs of last season like they did early on. I just think they are one who are going to just make numbers and get by as much as possible. And to be fair, I said this in the preview last year and we all knew they surprised us. So here's to hoping Tanjong Pagar do surprise us. I tell you one thing they've done right though. I really like their home kit and I'm going to get myself one.
Standard. This is what Russia does every single season. Exactly. So whoever, please just hook him up with one or he will not stop. Now let's move on to Hougang United, shall we? And it's changes aplenty for the Cheetahs. None more so than Firdaus Qasim taking over from Clement Teo at the helm. Having already led the team to silverware success, could Firdaus and co finally follow through on their tags as perennial dark horses? Alvin Tan from the Hougang Hulls certainly thinks so.
No offense to Coach Clement also, okay, but I would say that Firdaus, he does bring a lot of different ideas, some freshness of ideas to the squad itself. And in a way, his style of play is a little bit different from what Coach Clement was doing previously. You can see in the first 3 games of last season, okay, he's tried to implement a more like passing from the back kind of style itself, which unfortunately the guys were not ready at a point of time because due to a lack of preseason and everything. And now with a proper full preseason since the whole Singapore Cup campaign until now, okay, I think there may be some surprises because looking at the squad that he has assembled itself, you have really good ball-playing players in the squad right now. Definitely, we have a squad that we can definitely challenge for honours, especially to get the league title, definitely. Okay, we have to. Okay, for the past couple of seasons, we have a squad that can do that. But somehow or other, something didn't really click that well. And of course, we'll be having the AFC Cup group stages, okay, in July-August period, according to a calendar itself. Okay, that's something that hopefully we can at least get out of the like I said, out of the group stages in the AFC Cup, and of course to defend the Singapore Cup as well. But we lost a chance for a trophy on Sunday, but not all the time that you win the Community Shield, you win the league.
All right, that's Alvin there with his thoughts. Now, Khidhir, I'll come to you first. Has Firkas raised expectations for himself by clinching the Singapore Cup during his interim tenure at the helm?
Yeah, I should think so. I think he managed to steady the ship and then utilize the strength that he had in the squad last season. Managed to galvanize the team spirit, and then had a good push towards the last part of the season. But again, the season is very long for him now as a head coach. The pressure that comes with it, all eyes on him. The things that people say on the Telegram chat group as well. Is but then again, if you look at the quality of their first 13, 14 players, I would say it would be a very good 13 players. Right? On paper, they should be winning games. I wouldn't say easily, but they should be winning games. But then again, you can see from the match against Albirex, they played well in the first half and then they just disintegrated in the second half, where they didn't find the solution that they wanted to. But then again, it's a lot of time to rectify those mistakes, and I hope he does well this season with the squad that he has.
You know what? The thing that is always the issue with Hougang United last season was that we kept saying how inconsistent they were last season, right? Sudhershen, what are your thoughts on that? How do they combat that, especially for this season? And do you think they will be able to keep that consistency in 2023?
Yeah, so I think it helps that they've added a lot of experienced players, the likes of Gabriel Quack, Yoran Shah. I mean, Shadan will be a big loss, but they've added experience to the dressing room, to the field, and they will know how to manage games, right? And even if things are not going well, they've probably been in those situations before. And so that will help with the consistency. And even the coach, he's been around for a while. It's not a new job for him. He's taken over as the head coach now, but he's been around. He's known a lot of these players before. So I think they will do well. The only sort of weakness, I think, at this point is probably the fact that they don't have an out-and-out goal scorer at this point, right? And that seemed to be a problem against Albirex. And I don't know if that hurts them going forward, unless goals start coming in from all over, from the rest of them.
Roshan, I think you agree to that point as well, don't you?
Yeah, having watched them on Sunday, I do think they do look a bit blunt up front, which seems to be a recurring theme for a few teams in the league this season, right? But with Hougang especially, I think, yes, they have addressed their issues really well. Last season, defensively, they were massively susceptible to various mistakes. And I think they've gone out and done well to back the manager and get the two Japanese centre-backs. Above and beyond that, they've done well to get Zaiful Nizam. So now they seem to have shored up at the back. But up front, what's going to happen? I think a big part of what Firkas tries to do is to get his wingers involved, get Kiki Krajcek involved. So hopefully the striker who comes in, like Pedro Bortoluzzo last year, can be a bit more mobile. That's what they tried with Hazwan, I guess, just to drag the defenses everywhere so the wingers and the attacking midfielders can come into play. And that's their best route to goal, because I don't think the likes of Sahil or Amy are going to assure you 15, 20 goals a season. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I just don't see it happening.
My last question, though, is will Hougang United challenge for the title this season by any chance, Khidhir?
Wow, I think that's a very difficult question to answer. I think last season I said they will, but look what happened. But I mean, if you compare squads, just by the quality of the squads that the teams have this season, I'm pretty sure they're going to be out there. They're going to be out there. But then again, it's all about what happens on the field and how consistent they can get, and how much, or rather how many goals each individual players can contribute by in their positions. Gabriel historically will score a lot of goals. I wouldn't say 15, 20 goals, but at least 6, 7 goals a season. If you times by 6 players who are playing up front for them, it's going to be enough for them to win games. So I would say yes.
Oh, interesting. I mean, the reason I asked this was because, like you said, last season, the expectations for them were pretty high. We truly expected them to be in there for the title race, but that was not the case, even though they did end the season with the silverware. So I guess kudos to Firkas for that. So let's see what they can achieve this season under Firdaus Qasim. Let's move now on then to the east, and it's time to talk about Geylang International, who miraculously, wow, what a word, finished fourth in 2022. I say miraculously because the Eagles at one point were winless in 10 matches, and that was before No Ali and co, of course, turned it around to finish with a flourish. So will the Eagles pick up where they left off? Well, not necessarily, according to this Geylang fan.
I'm hoping for things to change this season, but then I'm not getting my hopes that high up. I mean, there are quality signings there. We retain Vincent Bezakor, we sign Yamaya, but at the same time, I still think that we are very thin. There's no depth there. And I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I think our goalkeeping department is the weakest link this coming season. At the end of the day, the coach can only do so much. If the club, if the management doesn't back him up, there's nothing you can do. Some more with our, you have to face the facts. Our pool is not that big, and even if we were to get Mourinho in, I mean, Geylang, if you don't support him, there's nothing he can do.
So Nas there blaming the management rather than the manager for Geylang's troubles. Khidhir, I'll come to you first. Do you agree that somehow No Ali deserves more credit for getting as much as he had out of that very, very thin squad?
Are we sure we want to go to Khidhir first? Because
yeah, exactly.
Never end. No,
yeah, exactly.
I think he deserves more credit, of course. I think if you look at the results that he have had during the first round, and then he just managed to turn it around, finished quite high comparing to the other team that has more money. Of course, you would think that okay, he must be doing something right. But then again, now if you look at this season's squad, it's so much worse than what it was last season. If you look at, I saw the photo of them lining up to play against, I can't remember, maybe Sabah or Selangor during the preseason. I was quite surprised at the quality that the team has at this point of time, considering that No Ali did quite well last season with the thing that happened last season. So I was expecting them partnership with City Football Group, blah, 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 and all that, back this manager up, give him a little bit more money, let him spend some money to get better quality players, and let's see what he can do with better quality players and more all-round and more in-depth squad. But then again, you see, it's quite disappointing. I feel it's quite disappointing that he has to deal with this quality of the squad, considering that he has pledged to stay with the club, not going to Young Lions and all that stuff. I think he had offers somewhere in Malaysia as well, but he wanted to stay. He wanted to do something with the club. I think in the last season's preseason video, he was mentioning he wanted to win something in the club, and you don't win anything with the current squad that he has at this point of time. This is just reality. Yeah.
Sudhershen, I'll come to you next. What can we expect from Geylang International, or more so, what should we expect from them this season?
I think if what last season has shown, it might take a while for him to get going, but he will get something out of these players. But like Khidhir said, right, I think it's sad that they've lost some of the players that they did, like Zaifu, Hazwan. They've lost key players from last season, and then they haven't actually replaced them very well. But for me, I'm glad to see someone like Iqbal back in the league. That boy I've always felt was very, very talented. Probably could have done a lot more, but it's good that he's having a chance again, and I hope he takes his chance well. But it's going to be a long season again. Same as last season, they've got a very small squad. They've probably got a decent enough first 11, but beyond that, as the season goes along, that's where they're going to really get tested. And I don't think they've replaced Zaiful at all this time.
Sudhershen, I have to ask at this point, right? We introduced you as part of the committee for Geylang International at the top of the show, so it would be unfair of me not to ask any questions in that front. And the Geylang fans want to know. Nas is just one of them. In fact, I spoke to him in a much longer length interview. I just clipped out the best parts for us. But what is it that is stopping Geylang International from giving the manager a bit more? I'm not even talking about City Group or anything like that. In the years gone by, how come there is almost no interest in competing with the other spenders, not LCS, just their peers?
I mean, I don't think there's no interest. I think they try, but as with a lot of the other smaller clubs, a lot of it comes down to being dependent on the financing that you get from the league and FAS, right? And it doesn't necessarily allow you to plan very far ahead. Of course, they could do more, but I think that tends to be the biggest problem.
So
Go for it,
Raushan, I wanted, because I truly enjoy listening to Raushan's opinions. So I do. So Raushan, what do you think? Do you agree with what Sudhershen just said? And where do you see Geylang International finishing at the end of the season?
I think I agree with both Khidhir and Sudhershen to the fact that yes, their squad is threadbare. That was a problem last year, and they papered over the cracks with various results, putting a string of results together. And Noor Ali obviously deserves massive credit for that. In fact, in my opinion, he should have been manager of the year last year, but that's a conversation for another day. With regards to this year, we've talked a lot about what they are missing. I just want to give credit where it's due. I think they've done well to keep Joshua Pereira at the club. From preseason pictures, it looks like he'll be leading that team as well. So I think that's a positive. And we touched on the other players missing. I do feel Sime Zuzul is going to be a huge miss for Geylang International. We saw the partnership he struck up with Bezakor last year. And without that, I don't see how they're going. I know Yamaya has come in, but he's going to be new to the league. And we know Japanese players tend to score bucket loads of goals. For Geylang's sake, I hope he does. But it's just one injury away from completely derailing the whole season, right? And some of the other signings, I take Sudhershen's point about being excited about Iqbal and all that, but it's just shots in the dark. It's like we shall try and then see what sticks. They did the same with Faris Farhan years ago. It didn't really work out. He's not even in the squad anymore. They're trying again with Iqbal. We shall see how it turns out.
I hear all your concerns, right? But I guess at the end of the day, do we even expect them to finish in the top 4 this season? Khidhir?
No, with the quality of the squad that they have, quality and of course the strength in depth, like Sudhershen said, decent first 11, but you can't play the exact same first 11 throughout the whole season unless you're lucky with injuries, you're lucky with suspensions, you're lucky with a lot of other things. But it's a long season. They have cup games, you have league games and international breaks and all that. So I would think that they're gonna do worse than what they did last season.
Sudhershen, very quickly, top 4 for Geylang International this season?
I think it'll be very hard for that to happen again. With the squad, it's like Khidhir said, it's very difficult to repeat that unless they're very, very lucky.
Raushan, I'm assuming you agree as well?
Yeah, I think the league's just way too competitive this year for Geylang to make the same impact they did.
Well, here's a shout to Noor Ali to prove us all wrong once again. Raushan, I'll give you a chance now. Do you want their jersey also?
The away one, perhaps. I don't think they've
The
done
away
as
one
well
is
with the home kit.
The
All
home
right.
kit is exactly the same every year.
Hey, no, the sponsor change, please.
Sponsor.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
All right, Leonard, just hook my friend up here with the away jersey. Thank you very much. Now, from the Eagles to the Stags, here's Tampines fan JT weighing in ahead of Gavin Lee's 4th season at the helm.
Over the years, okay, Gavin's first year, he kind of inherited, in my opinion, he kind of inherited a very strong squad from Jürgen. We managed to get second in the league, almost got the title. We won the Singapore Cup. We came in second again the following year. Then 2021 wasn't a very good year for us, as you all know lah. So 2022, it was a rebuilding year for us. As the team kind of managed to identify what actually happened during the 2021 season and work on it. Then now 2022 season, it was a slight improvement. We got third, even though we narrowly missed out on the Singapore Cup. So it was a massive improvement from 2021 to 2022. So 2023, many fans will be actually expecting the team to actually fight for the title or give those who are actually challenging the title a run of their money.
Now, guys, we all know about Gavin Ball and how much we love it and how pleasing it is to watch, and of course, how much dedication it takes to implement. But is the pressure now building on Gavin to deliver the silverware, Sudhershen?
I think it is a bit, but I also know that he'll be given time. The management trust him a lot and they back him a lot. But I do think they will be competing. The likes of Shahiran coming back, Joel Chuda having a full season. He will get the best out of these young players, and it's good to see that he can develop these players along with Glenn, right? So I do think he's got the good mix of, he's kept his foreigners. Boris is still there, Kyoga is still there. So he's kept a good spine and he's added on some of these youngsters who will learn from these players. And I think with the way that he plays, and they will do decently well this season, I think.
Now, Khidhir, Sudhershen actually pointed out to the fact that he thinks the management will give Gavin time, but how much time is enough time for Gavin? When is it? When does it end for Gavin? You know, like what should we expect from them this season?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure of this, right? But I just heard that he has signed a 6-year contract.
Wow.
So if you have signed a 6-year contract in a local club, it means that you're going to be given time. Like nobody's going to be sacking you because there's a lot of competition after that and all that. I think Sudhershen would know. So he won't be pressured too much to be achieving something, because at the end of the day, if you compare squad by squad, quality of the squad, he would still be maybe third or fourth best squad in the league compared to the rest of the team. So and he has a young squad as well this season. But I think it's going to be working well for him, in favor of him, because he likes to educate. I think the players will respond well to him, and also because he's young, and the players would see him as a more like a friend kind of thing rather than coach. But then again, he has signed very exciting players, Glenn Quay, like Saifullah, and mixture of experienced players as well. Firdaus Kasman is still there, Boris is still there, Yasser is still there, and they have shot at their defense with the left-footed centre back. I can't really remember his name, but I think he has also identified that position needs to be filled with a more quality player. So I would think that they would be more competitive this season. They would not concede as much as they did last year, not in the manner that they did as well. And Gavin Ball will always be Gavin Ball, and they're going to win some games more attractively, I would say. Yeah.
Roshan, we know how much you love Gavin Ball. So what are your expectations for Tampines this season? Are you just as excited as Khidhir and I guess as Tampines Rovers fan everywhere?
Look, I enjoy watching Tampines Rovers play purely because of Gavin Ball, and it does put up quite a show. Above and beyond that, their clashes with LCS always tend to be tasty, so I'm looking forward to that. But we talk about external pressures coming in for Gavin to deliver. Khidhir, great insight on that 6-year contract and giving him that security, which Tampines love to do, right? They love to give out long-term contracts, which is good for local football, by the way. I just feel Gavin himself is going to pressure himself to deliver, because he just comes across, Farah, you've spoken to him in pre-match, post-match interviews. He comes across as a guy who lives and breathes football, and I feel like internally he knows he needs silverware to prove the doubters, so to speak. Not even the doubters, but to prove that his process is working. So I think in that way, this season is going to be a big one for Tampines Rovers, and I'm hoping for big, exciting things for the team.
Indeed. Now to another side who would want bigger and better things next season, and who will also, of course, be looking to bury the ghosts of 2022 and start afresh, are none other than the Lion City Sailors. The promise of never-ending money has seemingly come to an abrupt end. Or has it? Here's Eddie from Sailor Fan Talk weighing in.
Whether or not big spenders or not, I think they are still big spenders. I mean, let's put it in context. I think the amount of money that they pump into the training center and everything still dwarfs the other clubs' budgets. However, of course, the days of what I would call like Harlem Globetrotters are no longer there, because Kim Shin-wook probably cost a pretty penny when he came and all that, and he's been replaced by Kodai Tanaka. So that excites me. The new signings such as Rushaidi, I think that also excites me. Why? Because I think in certain games last year, we felt like, hey, could we have a bit more dynamism, a bit more bite, a bit more like, let's kill our opponents. And we didn't have that. It was more controlled, maybe because of the profile of the players we have. So you get Shadan, who is like this maestro and everything, but then now you have Rushaidi, who is nowhere near the same passing range as Shadan, right? But very different kind of player. So am I excited? Yes. Am I a bit apprehensive that perhaps we might not be going into every game as favorites? Yes, also. I think with some of the talent trickling out of the Sailors, right, you must expect that the other teams are now suddenly a bit stronger as well. Might not be a cakewalk in most games, some games.
So Eddie there throwing caution to the wind. Guys, do you agree? How will this change in approach affect the Sailors' search for supremacy, Sudhershen?
I mean, the new coach will bring about a new way of playing, but they have gone for younger players, right? They've taken a couple of players from Young Lions. They've let a lot of the experienced heads go. So as opposed to Hougang, who've taken on more experience, they've taken on less. But they still do have enough in Haris and Anu, Hafiz and all that to still guide the players. But I think they will do well given the quality that they have and how they've recruited. But I still think Albrechts might still put them to the title.
Well, we'll speak on Albrechts a little bit later, but Khidhir, I do want to come to you here. Last season, I mean, with the squad that the Lion City Sailors had, we fully expected them to, pit for the title. But at the end there, they kind of like faltered away after getting rid of Kim Do-hoon especially. So what can we expect from the Lion City Sailors this season, and should they be right up there as well?
If you look at, they still have Maxim, they still have Diego. Even though Diego didn't really feature in the preseason games, I'm not really sure what's happening to him. But it's a long season. I'm pretty sure he's going to feature a lot this season as well. Two very good and good quality players. For me, Izwan is still injured, and they didn't really replace Hassan. Hassan, of course, nobody can really replace Hassan unless you get a foreign goalkeeper, right? So you have Haris. I think Haris's performance the last year hasn't been fantastic. We have him. I mean, he has played since he was 15, 16 years old. I think in terms of footballer's age, he's just played way too much. And I think he's feeling the effects of it. But if you look at the quality of the squad as a whole, together with the young players, they're going to do well in certain parts of the season. But I would think that as a whole, I would think that Tampines would do better than them. I don't think they're going to be challenging for the title. They're going to be third, fourth, thereabouts. Just because of the quality of the players that they have let go, and also the quality players that they have brought in. Very young, very raw players. Again, different direction. They have gone totally different direction. I think they want to help Singapore football also in a way to develop the younger players. And I think with that, it will suffer. They will suffer the results for this season. It won't be as consistent as it should be. So I think towards the end of the season, I would see them in maybe third or fourth rather than top two.
Wow. They're always coming through with the comprehensive answers. But Ravshan, what do you think? Do you agree with what Khidhir just said? Are they gonna not be challenge Albrechts as well as they have last season?
I mean, that's a very hot take from Khidhir to suggest that the Lion City Sailors are not going to be in and amongst it. But I understand he justified his reasonings well enough, right? The recruitment seems like those have gone out, have not been ably replaced. The goalkeeping department is a question mark. Who starts alongside Haris at centre-back, because Pedro is out through a long-term injury. Amirul Adli has signed for Geylang. So those are concerns with the Lion City Sailors. And like Sudhershen touched on as well, they have a new coach. So perhaps it will take some bedding in period. I tell you what, though, I think one man who is going to make a splash is Kodai Tanaka, who they've signed from Albrechts. For me, it just has shades of Manchester United signing Robin Van Persie from Arsenal all those years ago. I do think he's a bona fide goal scorer. He's a reigning Singapore Premier League Player of the Year, and I think he's going to have a huge impact, because not just bringing that pedigree along, but we saw how laboured they can be when Kim Shin-wook led the line last year. It's a sentiment shared not just by us observers, but the fans as well. So to go from that to Kodai Tanaka, I think is going to add some dynamism to their play, which was lacking towards the end, apart from some unnecessary secondary school results which mattered little in the end. So I expect the Lion City Sailors to not beat teams or absolutely trash teams in front of them, but I think they will put together a decent run to at least be in the top three. But the one thing I agree with Khidhir is I think Tampines do better than Lion City Sailors this year.
Sudhershen, you never got a chance to say it. Do you agree with this too? Will Tampines probably finish ahead of the Lion City Sailors this season?
Yes, I do think they do. They finish higher as well.
All right. Okay. Well, go on.
No, I think they have recruited the younger players, and I think that will take time. They won't show immediate results, and they'll have to rely on some of the more experienced players to pull through.
All right, we'll see where the Lion City Sailors end up at the end of the 2023 season. Now, last but not least, no prizes for guessing who we have left. Now, early signs suggest they will once again be the standard bearers of the league, comprehensively trouncing Hougang to win the Community Shield. First things first, how do they do it, guys? How do they constantly churn out this pipeline of talent, Khidhir?
I think Japanese players, you had an abundance of it in Japan. Even if you are just university players, the quality of the players are totally different from what we have in terms of of our quality. So to have them coming in is all about coming together, playing under a similar system, getting to know each other, strengths and weaknesses, getting to know the coach. But good thing is we know that Kazu is still there. We know the technical team is still the same. It's just a matter of getting the players together. And they have recruited Hassan Sani. What a signing! I think you save a lot of goals from just signing him. At least 10, 12 goals a season where he's just going to save you those shots or those goals. And if you look at the match against Hougang, you know that they are still in that building process, but yet they won the game, right? Hougang has been training one full season. The players know each other really well, and so on and so on. But then again, Japanese, they just know how to dictate games. They know how to control the match tempo to their liking, so that they are always in control all the time. So I think Albrecht will still be the team to beat, as much as whether people like it or not.
Now, on top of the fact that Khidhir just said, of course, because the Japanese, they're just like, they could be slightly more superior, but I do want to touch on the fact that, of course, they do have Hassan Sani, like you just said. And before the Community Shield, I was on Twitter and someone tweeted it saying, like, can you imagine you're taking on Albrecht and then you manage to break down that midfield, that back line, and then you stand there and you see Hassan Sani. Well, as an opponent, how annoying is it to just face an Albrecht side like that, Sudhershen?
Like you said, right? I mean, it's tough enough to try and get the ball off them first and then to get through them. And then you meet a goalkeeper like that, it's just going to break teams before they even start the game. But for me, Albrecht probably wins it again because I think they're the one club who has a proper system now. Their players change every year, or bulk of their players changes every year, but same system, same results. The players, it's as if it's a cookie cutter. They come in and do the exact same thing, as opposed to a lot of our local clubs where the players change and then it's a whole rebuilding process. It's never really a rebuilding for them. They just fit into the system. They scout well. They bring in the right players. And of course, technically, the Japanese players are just a lot better, probably a lot more disciplined about how they go about it in terms of preparations for games. But based on the first game, it looks like it's going to be the same again.
I do want to ask though, how demoralizing is it to be playing for any one of the other teams and then knowing that you're taking on an Albrecht side who everyone doesn't discount them to just go for the league title then, Roshan?
I think I take your point. They do tend to start every season as favorites, but that's the challenge, right? That's why we watch football week in, week out, right? We want to hope that Albrechts can be dropped off their mighty perch. I still stand by it. Last season, the Lion City Sailors lost the title rather than Albrechts won the title. Granted, you need to be thereabouts to get the job done. I do think the Sailors fumbled in a big way. Having said that, take nothing away from King Kazu and his team, right? Excellent team to watch. Excellent pipeline. Like I like Sudhershen's analogy of cookie cutter. It almost seems like whoever comes in, they look ready and up for the challenge. And yeah, I expect this season Albrechts to, again, I tweeted it on Sunday as well after the game, they will be the standard bearers in the league. And the onus is now is on the other teams to go out there and try and challenge this Albrechts team, because for how long more are we going to keep giving up the title to what is essentially a Japanese university team?
Roshan, so no reservations as you had about Albrechts like last season?
No, not at all. We shall see how the season pans out.
All right, so I guess we're all on the same page. Everyone then thinks Albrechts going for the title again? Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would think so.
Albrechts will challenge for the title. I'm not sure
But-
if they will win. That's not my pick to win the title, at least.
Well, exactly. Now we have to ask Roshan for his thoughts because all 9 teams done and dusted, but we're not just letting you guys go off just yet because we need to crank up the heat a little with some quick fire questions. So guys, quick fire questions. Okay, Khidhir, quick. Now, so in this order, okay, Khidhir, Sudhershen, Roshan, quick. Okay, question number 1, which player are you most excited about in 2023, Khidhir?
I would still think it's Maxim. I don't think any other signings can match up to him.
All right, Sudhershen?
I think I would like to see Kodai at LCS and see how he performs.
Nice. Okay, Roshan, judging by that reaction.
I thought Sudhershen might say Iqbal Hussein or something because he was gunning for him. But yeah, Kodai Tanaka's my answer as well. I alluded to it earlier. I think he's going to add goals to this Lion City Sailors side.
All right, lovely. Question number 2, be it positive or negative, one hot take for 2023. Khidhir.
Hot take. Tampines winning the title.
Oh, all right.
The next
all right.
question, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Oh,
okay. You want to review your answer, Khidhir, or you're gonna stick with that as your hot take?
VAR. VAR.
You properly, please. You must beep, beep.
okay. Jensen finally making a right call.
Ooh.
Do not
Nah,
come
that's
for
a
us,
hot take.
FAS. Okay, Sudhershen. One hot take for 23.
I mean, I just want to try and out of luck, right? I think Young Lions may not finish last this season.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, Raushan, go.
Iqbal Hussein doesn't see the season out at Geylang International.
All right. Dear. Okay, question number 3. Finally, who will be crowned champions? Well, he did already give us his answer, but please say again for everyone back at home.
I would like to have Tampines win the title.
Okay, would like. Sudhershen, who will be crowned champions?
I think still Albirex this year.
Raushan?
Tampines to be crowned champions.
Wow. You know what? I don't know if you and Khidhir are always on the same page, but let's see come the end of the season if you guys are right, because we can easily rewind this footage for that. Well, Raushan, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was super fun. A huge thank you to Khidhir and Sudhershen for weighing in with their invaluable insight. We look forward to keeping you company all season long at the final whistle. Khidhir and Sudhershen will be back to offer plenty more insight and plenty more hot takes, I believe. Farah, you want to take me through round 1 fixtures?
All right, so here's what's on offer on match week 1 of the 2022 backwards. 2023 Singapore Premier League. The Lion City Sailors will kick things off and open the campaign as they welcome Tanjong Pagar United to their rightful home at the Bishan Stadium. That's on Friday, the 24th of February, kickoff 7:45 p.m. A double header then on Saturday first sees the good old Eastern Derby with Tampines Rovers taking on Geylang International at our Tampines hub, while simultaneously over at the Jurong East Stadium, champions Albirex Sigasa go head-to-head with the Young Lions. Those two clashes kicking off at 6 p.m. And finally, Sunday, we'll see Hougang United travel down to the Bishan Stadium in their clash against Balestier Khalsa with yet another 6 p.m. kickoff.
Yep, certainly plenty to look forward to, and we look forward to hearing from you, the fans, who we do this for. And remember, this is for the fans, by the fans, so do keep the conversation going on Telegram, on social media. Tag Farah, tag me, tag Sudhershen, tag Khidhir, tag anyone, tag the final whistle. We look forward to keeping you company all season long. We'll see you on the next episode.